Different date, same fate. I'm gonna knock out Jake Paul.
Mike Tyson just crumbled Jake Paul with some brutal new fight rules, and these are tailor-made to teach Jake a harsh lesson. After taking down Mike Perry, Jake's ego went into overdrive, trash-talking like there was no tomorrow. I mean, seriously, Jake, congrats on winning, but maybe just go get a life and quit making fun of the guy who just lost? But no one stepped up to give this problem child a dose of humility, until now. So Tyson's laced up his gloves and is ready to deliver the reality check Jake's been begging for. So, if you're wondering what exactly pushed Mike Tyson over the edge, let's rewind a bit and catch you up on the juicy backstory. So it was July 20th, 2024, and Jake Paul struts into the ring to face Mike Perry. Now, Jake Paul, in all his loudmouth glory and wild antics, is ready to rumble with Perry, who's no slouch himself. This guy's a former BKFC champ trying his hand at boxing. And before the fight, look at Jake's fun. The match kicked off with a bang. Both fighters were going all out, and Perry, with his bare-knuckle brawler background, showed he wasn't just here to play nice. The guy had serious boxing skills. He stood his ground, trading punches with Jake, making it clear he wasn't just a filler. The first few rounds were nail-biter. Fans were glued to their seats, not sure who would take the crown. Perry's grit and resilience were on full display. And for a hot minute, it looked like he might just pull off a major upset. Then came the sixth round. Jake Paul, with his trademark bravado and relentless aggression, decided to crank it up. It was like watching a storm gather and then unleash all its fury. He landed a series of heavy blows that had Perry on the ropes. The ref had no choice but to step in. TKO, Jake Paul for the win. The crowd went wild, but the real drama was just getting started. After the fight, you'd think Jake might give Perry a nod of respect, right? Nope. Instead of acknowledging Perry's solid performance and the fact that he went toe-to-toe with him for 6 intense rounds, Jake went full villain mode. He humiliated Perry with snide remarks and belittling comments. It was a classless move, to put it mildly.
He wants payday. Payday.
I know that.
No, but I want to do it in MMA. And he don't want, there's too much to risk.
Let's put things in perspective here. Mike Perry isn't some random guy off the street. He's a BKFC champion, a guy who's used to the raw, brutal world of bare-knuckle fighting. Transitioning to boxing isn't a walk in the park, and lasting 6 rounds against a boxing-trained Jake Paul is no small feat. Perry showed heart and determination, qualities that deserve respect, not ridicule. But Jake, he didn't see it that way. Instead of giving Perry his due, he chose to roast him. Jake's post-fight interview was dripping with sarcasm and arrogance as he downplayed Perry's skills and performance. It was as if he couldn't even fathom giving Perry any credit. This wasn't just poor sportsmanship, it was an outright display of disrespect. Jake's attitude was a slap in the face to Perry and to the sport itself. Boxing, at its core, is about respect for the opponent, for the craft, and for the fans. Jake's behavior was the complete opposite of this ethos. Perry might not have won the fight, but he earned the respect of many for his courage and tenacity.
He was just changing everything every round. There was no like repetitive patterns. He wasn't falling into the same thing. He's just wild and throwing, and all of a sudden he'd back up, and then he's leaning back, then he's swinging from up here. So
Mike Perry, despite the loss, walked away with his head held high. He proved he could hang with the big boys in the boxing ring, and his performance earned him a lot of new fans. As for Jake, he might have won the fight, but in the eyes of many, he lost a lot more. So you might be asking yourself, what does Tyson have to do with all this? Well, let me tell you. The moment Mike Tyson entered the scene, things got real interesting. Tyson, a name that's pretty much synonymous with boxing greatness, was not thrilled with Jake Paul's antics after his victory over Mike Perry. Tyson, the guy who dominated the heavyweight division back in the late 80s and 90s, is all about respect in the sport. And Jake's shenanigans? Yeah, those were far from it. Tyson's reaction to Jake Paul's behavior was quick and fierce. On July 21st, 2024, just a day after Jake's win, Tyson let his feelings be known in an interview with ESPN. And boy, did he not hold back. He expressed his disappointment and straight-up anger at Jake's lack of sportsmanship. Tyson's been through the highs and lows of boxing. He knows a thing or two about respect and the importance of honoring your opponent. For him, Jake's behavior was an embarrassment to boxing, plain and simple. Now, Tyson's disdain for disrespect in the sport comes from his deep-rooted love and appreciation for boxing. Despite his ferocious image, Tyson always understood the importance of respect in the ring. He's been on both sides of the victory and defeat spectrum. And Tyson didn't just voice his displeasure, he issued a direct warning to Jake Paul. In that same interview, Tyson said, "Jake needs a lesson in humility. He needs to understand that this sport isn't just about winning, but about how you win. And if he can't learn that on his own, maybe it's time someone taught him." This wasn't just a casual remark, it was a declaration. Tyson was ready to step in and show Jake what true boxing spirit looks like. The boxing world was buzzing. When Tyson makes a statement like that, you know he means business. Tyson had a personal vendetta to teach Jake Paul a lesson in humility. After seeing Jake's disrespectful behavior towards Mike Perry, Tyson was determined to instill a sense of respect for the sport in Jake. By changing the rules, Tyson was basically saying, "You want to play in the big leagues? Fine, but you play by my rules." This was a direct challenge to Jake's bravado and a real test of his adaptability and resilience. Critics of Corsi had their say too, arguing that Tyson was using his legendary status to manipulate the fight in his favor. But even the skeptics couldn't deny that these rule changes added an exciting layer of unpredictability to the upcoming bout. Jake Paul's response? Classic Jake. In a live stream on July 26, 2024, he addressed the new rules with his usual mix of bravado and swagger. "Tyson thinks he can rattle me with a few rule changes? Bring it on. I agreed to fight under his terms, and I'll show him and the world that I can beat him no matter what the rules are," Jake proclaimed, smirking the whole time. But you could feel the tension. Observers couldn't help but wonder if Jake was truly prepared for the challenge ahead.
Biggest fight
Yeah, the biggest ever.
ever. It's on pace to be the biggest fight ever.
Yes, and we're involved.
We're involved,
We're
right?
involved. All those big shots, all the biggest athletes in the world. This is the biggest ever.
November 28th. Let's
Lit. Hey, we lit here. We lit at the Tyson Ranch.
Now you might be thinking, who is Mike Tyson to change the rules? Here's the kicker. Jake Paul practically begged Tyson to fight him. Multiple times, Jake publicly declared he'd fight under Tyson's rules and conditions, desperate to make the fight happen. Back then, Tyson was amused but not particularly interested. Fast forward, and Tyson decided to take Jake up on his offer. The boxing legend, now with a point to prove, pulled out those very conditions Jake had so eagerly agreed to. Tyson's announcement of the new fight rules wasn't just a game changer. It was a wake-up call for Jake Paul and a thrilling development for fans worldwide. So you want to know what these new rules are all about? Buckle up, because Tyson's changes are about to rock your world. Rule 1, the introduction of 8-ounce gloves. Yep, Tyson decided to swap out the standard 10-ounce gloves for these little 8-ounce bad boys. Seasoned boxers everywhere are sitting up and paying attention because this change means harder hits and less padding. Imagine, without actually imagining, every punch landing with a lot more impact. With less padding, each hit is going to feel like a sledgehammer. This isn't just about power, it's about precision and the ability to deliver knockout blows. Rule 2, extending the round duration from 3 minutes to 5 minutes. Traditional 3-minute rounds are already tough, but 5 minutes? That's a whole new level of endurance and stamina. Fighters need to dig deep, pace themselves, and maintain peak performance for longer. This isn't just about raw power, it's about strategic gameplay and mental fortitude. For Tyson, this rule is perfect. He's known for his endurance and ability to go the distance. These longer rounds play right into his hands. Tyson's strategic bursts of energy and his experience make him a nightmare opponent in extended rounds. Rule 3, knockout-only victory. Now this is the most exciting and brutal change. Forget points decisions. This fight ends only with a knockout. No playing it safe, no relying on judges. It's all about raw power and the ability to deliver a decisive blow. For Jake Paul, this is a double-edged sword. Sure, he's known for his knockout power, but the psychological pressure is immense. He's not just fighting to win rounds, he's fighting to knock out Tyson. This rule brings that same level of intensity and high stakes. Rule 4, random drug tests. This might seem standard, but the implications are huge. Mandatory and random drug testing throughout training and pre-fight ensure that the competition is clean and fair. It's all about maintaining the integrity of the sport. And this test is included because Mike Perry, who recently fought him, said something strange.
I don't know, the special stuff that you might be taking, I don't know. No, I'm just messing with you.
This nigga looks like a hot pocket, bro.
For Jake Paul, this rule could be a game changer. Given his history with fitness and speculation around his training methods, he'll be under close scrutiny. There's no room for shortcuts or performance enhancers. Everything has to be above board, and that adds a layer of pressure. He's being watched closely, and any slip-up could disqualify him or damage his reputation. And all that bragging Jake was doing about Mike Perry? Yeah, the time has come for him to put his money where his mouth is, and we all know he's going to struggle big time. So, stay tuned here, and I'll be back with the next update. This is about to get real interesting.